Coming up on First at 5, one prominent Gainesville figure is running for a seat in the Florida House.
And a major company is opening a new office in Gainesville. Their plans to help some of the city's most needy neighbors. Daniella?
Temperatures have been really feeling like fall for the past few days, but is it going to last? I'll give you the update in my full weather forecast.
First at 5, from the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Well, good evening and welcome to First at 5 from WUFT News. I'm Jacob Sedesse.
And I'm Natasha Holt. Thanks for joining us. A Gainesville politician is hoping to take on Tallahassee.
That's right. David Arreola is seeking a spot in the State House of Representatives.
I graduated from our public schools, Hidden Oak, Fort Clark, and Buchholz. Growing up, Gilchrist Blue Springs, the Santa Fe River, and the Nature Coast were my playground.
The once mayoral candidate and former city commissioner made that announcement on social media today. In his speech, the Democrat campaigns on his pro-gun control and abortion rights record. Arreola says he's hoping to take on what he calls MAGA Republican extremism. Amy Jane Trask is also in the race on the Democratic side, and on the Republican side, Raymond Eagle Glenn, Robert Woody, and Chad Johnson have filed.
Students are voicing their opinions about conservative political commentator Ben Shapiro, who spoke last night at the Phillips Center about the war between Israel and Hamas. WUFT's Juan Chaoui covered the event and heard multiple views.
That's right, Jacob. Conservative political commentator Ben Shapiro visited the University of Florida for the first time since 2017. His last visit to UF sparked both protests and support from the student body. Hundreds of people lined up hours before Ben Shapiro's speech about the war between Israel and Hamas. We spoke to some of the students in line to find out their thoughts about Mr. Shapiro.
Well, I kind of just align with what he believes. I think he's a very smart and intelligent person. And so really just seeing him in person, seeing what he has to say right here when he's on UF campus, I think will be really interesting.
Others were simply there to learn more about American politics.
So I'm from England. I don't know too much about American, demographics or anything about kind of Republican conservative parties. Or I hear Ben Shapiro's on the conservative side. I'm kind of excited to really just come out and kind of get a feel about American politics in general.
Just before the event started, we ran into the chapter chairwoman of the Young Americans for Freedom, a conservative student organization. She shared a bit about why they hosted Ben Shapiro.
We always want to encourage that open dialogue and that civil discourse on campus. There's so many different opinions and ideas, and we just want to engage in that discussion.
Soon after, Ben Shapiro took the stage. We were unable to get him for an interview, but he made his stance on the situation in the Middle East clear.
Hamas is evil, and those who support them hate Jews.
However, not everyone agrees with the views and messages that Ben Shapiro shares.
For this conservative, bigoted, ignorant person who spreads a hateful rhetoric and ignorant rhetoric to come and speak at a school that is a public top 5 university, quite frankly, it's embarrassing, and many of us don't stand for it.
In spite of opposition, the Young Americans for Freedom Foundation hopes to bring him back in the future. The protesters we spoke with say they will be back and ready to voice their opinions if he visits again. Juan Chaoui, WUFT News.
Thank you, Juan Carlos. This morning, I woke up to quite a chilly day. I'm going to be honest, Natasha. I love being here, but it was hard getting out of bed this morning.
I don't know about you, Jacob, but I'm wondering if this cold is here to stay. WUFT's Daniella Rudolph joins us to give us an update.
Well, I completely agree with you, Jacob, and I am a big lover of the cold. It makes me want to stay in bed and snuggle up the whole day. But looking at those temperatures right now, a lot warmer than what we woke up to this morning at 78 degrees right now. Looking at this beautiful live cam over Marion County, we see these fluffy clouds not going to be producing any weather that we can see on our radar. A clear night is going to be a lovely evening to head out on the town, get a little pre-Friday going. I'm very excited for the weekend. And if you are headed out tonight, those temperatures are getting a little bit chilly. Sorry, Jacob, you probably need to take your sweater if you're headed out tonight, but it's going to be partly cloudy until around that 1 a.m. time where it's going to be clearing up. Now, looking forward in the forecast, the rain is going to be disappearing. I'll have a weekend planner and I'll let you know if the sweater weather is here to stay.
Thank you, Daniella. A major company called Gas South is becoming a part of the community. WUFT's Jake Lynch is at the company's new office to talk about how officials are already helping local organizations. Jake?
Behind me is the grand opening of Gas South's new regional office here in Gainesville. The billion-dollar natural gas company is hosting the event to show that they can be a fuel for good. Gas South is the largest natural gas company in the southeastern United States and serves over 440,000 commercial, industrial, wholesale, and residential customers. No one that lives in Gainesville is a customer, but the company still plans to make an impact on Gainesville through philanthropy.
We want to see that that community is thriving, that those that need help can find it. And so working with our nonprofit partners together is a way that we really be a fuel for good, that we really elevate the communities.
One of the ways it is doing that is providing local organizations with grants. Food for Kids provides over 40 schools with bags of non-perishable food for food insecure students.
This year we were surprised and really excited to receive a $100,000 grant from Gas South. We had been prior recipients of smaller grants, and their group of employees have come and volunteered with us for several years. But to receive a grant of that size has been truly transformative for our organization.
Giving back to children in need has been a goal for Gas South since 2006, 5% of its profits of which go to that cause. As for why Gainesville specifically, in 2020, Gas South bought Infinite Energy, which was based here in Gainesville and shared similar goals. Live in Gainesville, Jake Lynch, WUFT News.
Deputies in Marion County are issuing a new warning to neighbors not to fall for scammers posing as members of their agency. They say they've received several reports of neighbors receiving phone calls from someone posing as a deputy using their name, Eric Dice. MCSO says none of their detectives will ever call you to ask for money. If you receive one of these phone calls, report them immediately.
Florida residents and members of the community are coming together to help employees of a closing paper mill find new jobs. Governor Ron DeSantis led a career fair in Taylor County for over 500 Georgia Pacific Mill employees who will lose their jobs. Over 70 employers participated in the fair, including Alachua County Sheriff's Office representatives. Georgia Pacific officials announced the mill's closure back in September, and it's set to go through in November.
Alachua Habitat for Humanity celebrated its 178th home build today. Alachua Habitat for Humanity employees gathered with local leaders to celebrate Kiana Clayton's home with family. High Springs Mayor Gloria James spoke, Pastor Greg Waltmeyer of First Baptist Church prayed, and Kiana cut the ribbon. Alachua Habitat hopes to reach 200 homes by 2025.
Alachua City residents are learning more about the services their local government provides. City officials hosted the third annual celebration of Local Government Day. From 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., residents were invited to Alachua City Hall to learn about local government organizations. City officials say it's important to educate residents on the services local government organizations offer. Tabling included representatives for Alachua PD, Vote Alachua, Trophy Catch Florida, Elder Options, and John Power Tax Collector.
The reason it's important to celebrate Local Government Day is to allow everybody to know what services that the government provides for them. You know, we work, we serve, and so that allows them to come on and get up to date on everything they need and all the services we provide.
Officials expect 50 to 100 residents today, but want Local Government Day to expand in the future. And President Biden is getting ready to address the nation tonight after returning home from Israel.
Yes, we'll preview the big announcement he's expected to make when we return from the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome back to First at 5. The U.S. national debt has reached over $33 trillion. As the U.S. government continues to financially assist Ukraine and Israel, the expenses aren't expected to stop piling on. WUFT's Francis Capper went around UF campus today and heard from students and experts. Francis.
The United States national debt is rising rapidly. And with more debt expected to be incurred tonight with additional wartime funding, I'm here at the University of Florida to get reactions from students on what they think about this increasing debt. President Biden is expected to request $100 billion in financial assistance. The aid is intended to be used in Ukraine, Israel, and other humanitarian crises around the world. These expenditures will be added onto the total amount of the nation's national debt. University of Florida student Gian Flores believes debt could hold the U.S. back globally.
We don't want to put ourselves behind, and we don't want to owe people stuff. We'd rather be on our own.
Assistant professor of economics at the University of Florida, Jonathan Adams, explained that if the debt is not managed properly, the government would face consequences.
If the debt becomes unsustainable and Congress is unwilling to balance the budget and pay for it with budget surpluses, one of two things must happen. Either there will be inflation or there will be default.
These concerns are not only a problem for the federal government.
Does a large debt have an impact on wages? Yes. So if the interest expense for the federal government is large, that means it has to either raise taxes or cut government spending, both of which lower after-tax wages.
UF economics student Emilio Herodier is concerned about a ballooning national debt.
If we keep raising it at this level, eventually faith in our economic system is going to deteriorate to the point where we might as well have just stopped raising it in the first place.
We can also expect an announcement about further aid tonight from the Biden administration. My name is Francis Capper, WUFT News.
Those driving through the city of Lottie will now see more speed warnings, but only from signs. The city's council approved more than $3,600 for the 2 speed radar signs. They were installed this morning on East and West Lake Street in 20 and 30 mile per hour zones. They will keep statistics on how many speeding vehicles go through the area. A Lottie Police Department spokesman said they'll remind drivers of the small town's slow speed limits.
So we have warmed up slightly over the past 24 hours, as you can see around that 5-degree mark, but we do have this high pressure system overhead in the Carolinas that's going to be shaking some things up for us. I'll have an update on what that means for us here in North Central Florida after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Taking a look in that temperature change over the past 24 hours, up slightly between 5 and 8 degrees. Now we do have that high pressure system overhead, which I'll talk about in just a second, but we have the muggy meter. If you've been noticing outside, it's been really nice to be outside. I personally love the cold, so I've really been enjoying this. That's feeling in the refreshing range. It's going to peak a little on Friday, but it's still going to be feeling pleasant. Now what that's going to be doing for your temperatures tomorrow, if you're staying with me here in Gainesville, heading out to classes for your Friday, one day left until the weekend. Very exciting. Those temperatures are starting out at a crisp 67, only warming up to 80, but don't let the cool and the clear skies fool you. It's going to be a cool day throughout the day. As I said, just recently we have had that dip in those dew points, so it's going to make these temperatures feel a little bit cooler than what they look now. There is your weekend planner. As I said, very exciting weekend ahead. If you're heading up to Jacksonville, I'll have your football forecast in just one second, but if you're staying here in Gainesville, your Saturday is going to be really nice. It's going to be a cool one in the evening, and a similar trend on Sunday. So Saturday is a little bit of the warmer day if you are wanting to head out to watch that game. Now there we go, football. I'm very excited for this one, taking on Georgia. It's going to be a great game. If you are headed up to Jacksonville, your tailgate is going to be tempered, starting out at 76 degrees, and then it's going to be a sunny kickoff at 80, and then a little bit of a cooler celebration if you're headed out to Jacksonville to celebrate. And of course, we are tracking the tropics. Hurricane season is not over just yet, and it tends to cool down and relax a little bit toward the October months, but this is going to be developing over the next few days into a hurricane category 1. So definitely we're going to be tracking that for you. Definitely stay with us to see how it's going to be affecting anyone living here in the Leeward Islands. So if you have any friends there, just let them know that it's going to be headed toward them. Now, of course, that 7-day outlook here, we can see we have this temperature trend in those low 80s, and it is going to be a little bit warmer than what we've been seeing, but again, it is still going to be below normal temperatures. The normal temperature range is 60 for the lows and 82 for the highs. So that high pressure system is going to be keeping the skies beautiful. A way that I remember this is high pressure, high in the sky, the sun is going to be out, and those temperatures are going to be cooling down just a little bit, but next week for Thursday, that's when we're really going to start to see those temperatures warming back up.
The Gators soccer team welcomes the Auburn Tigers for an SEC conference matchup tonight. Players are on the field warming up as the clock ticks down until kickoff. A preview of tonight's game and more in sports after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome to sports. I'm Jack Alperstein. The Gators soccer team is back on the pitch tonight for a matchup with the Auburn Tigers. With kickoff less than an hour away, WUFT's Reighan Sheppard is live from Donald R. Disney Stadium.
As you can see, the Gators are starting to warm up behind me, getting limber for tonight's matchup. I'm here with Gator head coach Samantha Juan. Coach, we had a tough run on the road last week against Arkansas. How are you and your team changing your mindset heading into the game? Well, every game is a new opportunity, and that's what I just told them today. Just to make sure that they leave the field at the end of the game with no regrets. They've done that pretty well this season, so we're excited for another good match tonight. Absolutely. So offense kind of struggled over the last week, not scoring any goals in the last few games. What are you doing differently on offense tonight to hopefully convert some goals? Yeah, formation starting where we're going to put a few more numbers forward, so hopefully that'll help us a little bit. Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, kickoff is tonight at Disney Field at 6 p.m. right here at home. I'm Reighan Sheppard, WUFT News.
With high school volleyball playoffs underway, the Oak Hall Eagles soared in their opening district matchup against the St. Joseph Academy Flashes. This one looked to be a battle in the first set as both teams were trading points early. As the Eagles stretched their wings, Oak Hall's front line took over and shut down St. Joseph to take a 25-15 victory in the first set. After the strong start, the Eagles ran away with the match behind the efforts of senior outside hitter Penny Moser. Moser was automatic with her attack, and St. Joseph was hopeless to stop it. With the pressure from Moser's and Oak Hall's offense, it seemed like nothing could go right for the Flash. Oak Hall completed a 3-0 sweep of the match with ease, securing 25-11 victories in both the second and third sets. With the win, the Eagles move on to the district finals taking place tonight at 6 p.m. against Countryside Christian, hosted by St. Francis. Fall practice is in full swing for the Gators baseball team as they work through week 2. The team is taking an off day today, but they've got scrimmages scheduled all weekend. Tomorrow, the Gators will get in some work beginning at 2:30 p.m. with a scrimmage to follow at 3:45. It's a revenge season for the team as they return to the diamond with their College World Series loss to LSU fresh in mind. With BT Riopelle and Texas Rangers prospect Wyatt Langford exiting the program, all eyes are on Gators pitcher and first baseman Jack Caglione to lead the team back to glory. That's all for sports. I'm Jack Alperstein.
Thanks, Jack. Now, before we go, let's take one last check on the weather. Daniella?
We're taking one final look at our 7-day outlook. For your weekend, those temperatures are going to be staying around that 80-degree mark. We do have those normal temperatures of 82 degrees, so it's going to be fairly below just for your Friday and your Saturday, but going into your work week next week, temperatures are getting a little bit warmer, really not that much now. Those normal temperatures for your lows are 60, so we are going to be below average for a few days. Not really anything to worry about too much. If you're not a big fan of the cold, like Jacob said, you might want to take a jacket on your way out for the rest of the week.
Thanks, Daniella. That's all the time we have for tonight. BBC World News is next, and PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7.
But remember, your Florida news is always at WUFT.org. Have a wonderful night.